I tell you, this North Korea situation is off the charts. And I thought back to Lindsey Williams, who 2 years ago on the show, well, really 3 years ago, he from his source, I know who his source is, has been a Bilderberg attendee before, former head of one of the big three oil companies. You can say what you want about Lindsey Williams. I think he's a good guy. A little repetitive sometimes, but aren't we all? But I know who his sources are. One of them's dead now. And it's just an interesting window into things because this was before they even shifted one of the big fleets to the Pacific. He was saying 3 years ago, wish I had the stat to dig all this up, but you heard him, that, Alex, do not worry about the destabilization in the Middle East. Bad imitation. But when they move into Asia and North Korea, that is the big one, he said. And maybe it's not going to happen now, but I'm telling you, it is wild what's going on. And then about a year after he started saying that, they shifted the main fleets over to the Pacific. And now it turns out the West has secretly met the United States back in March with the North Korean leadership. Dr. Steve Pachenik, who I think is back in the U.S. today. We need to get him to pop in to talk about this. But Paul Watson has the article up at Infowars.com today. Who gave North Korea nukes in the first place? And it gets into ABB and Donald Rumsfeld, obviously being the ones that did that. The U.S. government and the CIA. But again, the U.S. government has been taken over by the New World Order. So the New World Order, it's not like the U.S. government's coming after our guns. The captured collaborator U.S. government, which isn't the U.S. government anymore. I mean, I keep trying to explain this. Just because a hijacker conks the pilot on the head and puts on his uniform and walks out and says, I am now the pilot. I am taking you to Iran. I mean, everybody knows that's not really the pilot. But when you have one of these soft coups, foreign corporate espionage, infiltrations, corporate takeover, I mean, that's really what the New World Order is. It's a corporate takeover of the planet of anti-free market monopoly combines who happen to have a belief system in eugenics and who want to live forever. Duh, who wouldn't? Especially when you're worth billions of dollars, control trillions. You've got everything. What are they obsessed with? Living longer, and they don't like seeing crowds of people. They disdain the dumbed-down public who they've helped dumb down. And I mean, always the public is simple-minded on average compared to good, very smart people and bad smart people. I mean, good smart people want to build up the dumb people, want to help their brethren. Bad smart people want to kill you. And let me explain something to the public. You're begging for it. You're begging for it. You're begging for it. You are begging for it. I go down to Barton Springs sometimes and swim. In the last month, they haven't changed the big clock for swimmers. The time's wrong and the hour's wrong. And I keep telling them, and they can't even understand me what that means. And I'm seeing signs of this everywhere. I call it mass zombiosis, or people going into a trance. And it's intensifying. And let me tell you something, nothing against Californians, because some of the most awake people I know are in California because they're around a bunch of zombies. But I see videos, and I've been out in California, and you talk to the general public, they don't even hardly know how to talk. And I predict, in fact, this is already happening, the language has shrunk. In fact, Chris, print me something about language shrinking, amount of words being used shrinking. There's a bunch of articles on that, that people will even stop talking soon. And then they'll stop going out, and then they'll stop eating, and then they're going to die. In fact, it's already happening in South Korea, the most connected country in the world. People just watch TV or play video games. Every week you see it in the news till they die. And this is the big secret. We're going to talk about it today.
I'm Darren McBreen, and these are some of the new items that are available now at InfoWarsShop.com.
Alert the public to Obama's blatant abuse of power with the new Obama t-shirt. Obama's Joker face on the front and come and take it on the back. It's time to publicly call him out for what he is, a tyrant. Defend the Second Amendment with our top seller Come and Take It t-shirts. And look at that, women's cut tank tops and t-shirts now available. Nice hat. plus the Don't Tread on Me flag. And now you can become a micro distributor of the InfoWars magazine. Plus, get your own copy delivered right to your door each and every month. And if you're tired like I am of you and your family being exposed to polluted drinking water, get the Pro One high-performance water filter. It gets rid of all pathogenic bacteria, cyst, fluoride, heavy metals, and numerous other contaminants.
So join the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.
We are here live, and we're not turning away. We're not watching humanity go down the tubes, collapse under mind control into mass zombie state without a fight, ladies and gentlemen. I stand for truth, justice, and liberty worldwide. I stand for the spirit of 1776 worldwide that trumps 1984 all day and all night. But you must first become animated with the animating contest of liberty. You know what I love in life? I love real people. I love people that aren't fake, and I love people that are animated with the spirit of liberty. And you talk to somebody who's animated, who has energy, who is bubbly, you just want to be around them. They're amazing. And then you get around the general public, more and more act like lethargic sloths that have had electrochemical lobotomies. And, I mean, it's getting worse and worse and worse. And every generation talks about young people. And we've got one of the most awake, focused, dynamic, amazing groups of young people that I've ever seen in my life, seeing my generation and looking at older generations and experiencing several younger generations before me. We have some of the most awake, dynamic young people ever, but that's a minority. The majority of them love being sloths, love being pathetic, wear their ignorance like a sheet of armor, and basically don't even know how to wipe their noses. And the New World Order is not going to just let you sit around and draw welfare and lay around all day. Okay, they're going to get you on the government dole for a while. They're going to give you government jobs to run our lives. And then once they've got everything fully collectivized, they're going to shut everything off incrementally, and they're going to start giant wars, and they're going to release bioweapons and say they're natural plagues, and the vaccines they give you are going to further brain damage you and engage in real electrochemical lobotomies with the nanotech anti-stress vaccines they're coming out with. That's what they're called, which some evidence, it's not just television and flicker rate putting people into a trance state. I've talked to a lot of people I know that have taken especially the H1N1, and they're different people. They're not just had their IQs lowered. They aren't real anymore. And I've recognized this enemy operation for at least a decade, reading different MIT papers and things. But it's already happened. So, and Bill Gates is coming out with food, clothing, chemtrail sprays. He's funding geoengineering that has vaccines in it. It's on their website. They're putting hundreds of millions into that. How to manipulate your gut flora without you knowing. I mean, they're very public about programming us. And it's an incredible war crime against humanity. But their propaganda is in ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, the cover of Costco magazine, just Time magazine, Newsweek, just everywhere I look. Bill Gates loves you. He's an angel. So people say, what do you mean he's an angel? I mean, thank God for Bill Gates. Well, okay, go take his shots then. I mean, never mind that they had 60-something thousand kids get paralyzed off of shots in India last year alone. And it's a minor footnote. We're not calling it polio, though. We call it a type of paralysis. Truth is, they didn't get rid of polio. Neurological disorders and paralysis is at record highs. They just don't hype it up. You see, there's the difference. You can have 200, 300,000 deaths from infections. It varies every year in hospitals. You can have 200 and something thousand from drug overdoses in hospitals. You can have a couple 100,000 from doctor error every year. I mean, it's well over 800,000 people a year dying one way or another from medical neglect or abuse or different variants of that, malpractice. And just going into these hospitals and facilities that are just have the most powerful drug-resistant, radiation-resistant, chemical-resistant bugs you can imagine. I mean, insects that have been pesticided within 3 or 4 generations almost always become somewhat immune or resistant or completely resistant to poisons. Or you can put poison right on them and they don't die. What do you think happens with bacteria and viruses? By the way, though, in that is the key to our salvation. Because I want to explain something. Humans are the most dynamic, powerful, intelligent, incredible, enlightened, beautiful, transcendent creatures this planet has. That's why they tell you you're ugly, you're bad, you're no good all day, so you don't figure that out. So that you just imagine you're this ball of scum who embraces your weakness because you were told you were weak. You see, that's even your own adaptation manipulating you. The New World Order is not going to be able to shut all of us down. Their viral cocktails aren't going to work on all of us. And believe me, the subconscious drives the conscious, and the brain is connected through the spinal cord to the rest of your body. And the mere fact that I'm talking about how you're under attack right now, even if you're a jellyfish consciously, I am commanding jellyfish right now, spineless people. I am commanding you. I am commanding you through your instincts, through your ancestors, through your common sense. And, of course, God is commanding you through your spirit to activate right now and launch defenses. And believe me, the defenses are launched. So the globalists have got a big problem on their hands, okay? Because there is autopilot, ladies and gentlemen. They know about the autopilot. They're trying to program it. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. You've already failed. And by the way, most of the globalists have already figured that out. I'm seeing major signs in the power structure of internal civil war and people trying to reverse it, and children of elite families understanding now you're not going to screw up humanity and get out of this. The only way you're going to be able to attain the true gifts of the Creator, which is all this technology, genetic engineering, all of it. We are creators, little C creators, to the big C creator. We're made in the image and likeness of God. Okay? I mean, take a look at what we can do. Just got chills right there. Just got chills right there. And with what we do sends out ripples. You know, I shouldn't get mad that within 3 days of us breaking major news, every single day, Glenn Beck, Rush Limbaugh, you name it, Sean Hannity are covering it, and more they can't even spin it because their audiences demand the truth. And plus, deep down, they don't want to sell people out. Deep down, they have a survival instinct for their families, their children, their wives, the people they love. You see, that's why they want to make you automatons and have, quote, zero tolerance and everything, where cops are robots, where teachers are robots, where you don't have any discretion. Because they want you to be a robot. You see, that's where all this is going. That's why they're trying to replace us with robots. I mean, I always feel like I should do more. I always feel like I should work harder and stay up late and shoot videos when I'm exhausted that aren't as effective as when I'm actually, energized doing it. And it just really came to me this morning in one of the most azure blue skies I've ever seen, with spring breaking, with manifest beauty. To be on this planet staring out into the heavens, I mean, just incredible. That I have already succeeded and you have already succeeded. Because the greatest victory is not even getting personal attention. The greatest victory is not yourself being famous. That's actually a cross to bear. But true, real power to do good is when you can do something and have everyone come think they're stealing it and take it and actually put it out to everyone, and to be able to change human destiny for good. And to be involved, being able to blow the whistle every single day on things that I think are important and that my crew thinks is important, and then others who resonate with it who think it is important. And it's like the fire of Prometheus. I revel in giving not from the Greek occultic perspective, but it's still a good analogy, the fire of liberty, the fire of awakening, the fire of truth, the fire of building people up and seeing them soar, that is such an amazing thing. And it's why it's so alien to me that other people don't want to build others up and see them soar because they're threatened by it. That's why the only person in mainstream dominant media who I've seen that doesn't try to dominate and shut down other people is Matt Drudge of the Drudge Report, who has given InfoWars the fire of Prometheus. We had already given many the fire of Prometheus on a smaller level, and it had set brush fires across the planet. But Drudge and others have given us a greater fire. And so now Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, this syndicated show, even when it's not on DrudgeReport.com, as one of our stories is today, it is now picked up by conservative circles, libertarian circles, and is read word for word with no credit. And I don't even really mind that when Limbaugh and Hannity do it. Savage gives us credit now. When Beck does it, it's irritating only in that he's tried to hurt us and shut us down and block us while streaming what we're doing. I mean, listen, this show is the Glenn Beck show now. I mean, you understand, I'm his teleprompter writer, but I'm writing directly out of history and research and the force of liberty that flows through me. I had tried everything. I'd cut back the amount of food I was eating. I was lifting weights and jogging, but nothing was working. My body was literally starving for minerals and trace elements as well as key vitamins. And as soon as I had that, I immediately could eat half of what I was eating previously and be satisfied. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com. All right, coming up, I'm going to get into the police state news, the economic news, the incredible Second Amendment news, where they are trying to ram through anti-gun legislation without anyone being able to read the bill. Of course, they're saying Harry Reid promised to let us have amendments, but he lied. It's like saying, Satan promised not to lie to me, but he did. People go, I can't believe Biden doesn't understand why we want guns to protect ourselves from criminals and the government. Biden says he doesn't understand why we want guns. Why doesn't he understand? Of course Biden understands. He owns a bunch of guns on record and has bodyguards. He's a gangster. He's got a criminal instinct, an animating contest of evil. He doesn't like you. He wants to dominate you. He's from the dark side, big time. Big time. Big time. Big time enemy. Big time bad. Big time eat your lunch. Big time usurp everything you've got. But it's virtuous to roll over to tyranny. No, it's not. I mean, look at this right here. Paul Watson did the article today. You need to make this go viral. It's up on Infowars.com. Bill Clinton, the UN, and Donald Rumsfeld. If anybody's like the devil and appears in a poof of smoke, I would imagine it'd be Donald Rumsfeld. I mean, that guy commences, that guy MCs over like all the key evil. He's just as important as Henry Kissinger as Zbigniew Brzezinski. I mean, that guy's been around since right after L.L. Lemnitzer got kicked out by Kennedy. He came in right after that. Mr. False Flag. Who gave North Korea the nukes in the first place? U.S. government, CIA, on record. Just like in a few years when Al-Qaeda's attacking us, and so they're doing proctology exams on you and your family on the highway, not just the airport. it'll be because of Al-Qaeda and you know, other groups. You'll be like, oh, you know, our government put Al-Qaeda in charge in all these countries. Oh, shut up, conspiracy theorists. Now, remember, everybody knows that now, but by then it won't be politically, you know, correct to admit that. But the whole article goes over the admission. Now, they have revealed in a leaked intelligence report, which means they did it on purpose, that North Korea states that it has nuclear war is unavoidable as it declares first target will be Japan. So they're saying that, and the intelligence report says that, yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, they do have nuclear weapons and can hit Japan and South Korea. Okay, so that is what has now come out, and China has been massing troops for weeks on the border there, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the facts. And North Korea is now saying that they will hit Japan first. And they're saying nuclear war is unavoidable. If somebody says, I'm going to come over to your house and shoot you, it's unavoidable, and I'm coming over to shoot you, I have every right to have you arrested, and if you come to my house, to kill you in self-defense. But notice that's not happening. And notice the Pentagon has been secretly meeting with North Korea. In the last month, this guy was raised in Switzerland. And remember, the global crime syndicate manipulates the communist Chinese, put them in power in '49, moved all our industry there. They manipulate the EU. They manipulate our Pentagon. They run our country. And so, understand, they clearly, more and more I realize, and I'm going to get Pachinik on about this to get his take, are actually running this whole thing. It doesn't mean they control them. It means that they have made some deal behind the scenes, I believe, to give them oil and a bunch of other food and stuff if they do this. So Bauer break, Kerry on the scene. Congressman, they have nukes. Kerry contradicts intel report. Pentagon deploys sea radar. We're going to be breaking all this down. We've got excellent coverage at Infowars.com. Also excellent coverage over at DrudgeReport.com. But why is this happening now? I'm going to get into this.
Hi, Ted Anderson, president of Midas Resources. With over 30 years of experience in the precious metals business, I can tell you without a doubt, we are facing the most dangerous and volatile times, not just in the United States, but worldwide. Peace of mind is gold and silver. Now is the time to invest in gold. When it comes to bullion coins, our prices are competitive and the closest to melt. If it's numismatics you're looking for, we have some of the best deals out there. Visit MidasResources.com today or go to Infowars.com and click on the link to see our daily specials. Here's an example of one of our long-term specials we've been offering for more than a year. 2 silver dollars from the turn of the last century, plus 2 powerful films, The Obama Deception and The American Dream. We also add in the book Dishonest Money, all for $72 and free shipping. The most trusted name in precious metals is Midas Resources. Call 1-800-686-2237 or go to Infowars.com. I'm Ted Anderson with Midas Resources.
We are now only entering the edge of a global financial superstorm, the likes of which the planet has never seen. Here in the United States, the private Federal Reserve is giving more than $85 billion of taxpayer money a month to themselves and other offshore foreign banks. And the worst part is, we have to pay the bank's interest on the money we give them. There is now a race between the global central bank mafia cartels to see who can devalue their country's currencies the fastest. We are already seeing big increases in inflation at the grocery store and the gas line. This will eventually lead to hyperinflation. More than a dozen top globalists like George Soros have been buying record amounts of gold while at the same time bad-mouthing it to the public. Don't just listen to what they say. Watch what they do. For more than 6,000 years of recorded human history, gold has been the ultimate hedge against uncertain times and inflation. Before investing in metals, it is important to do your own research and find a reputable company. Midas Resources has the highest Better Business Bureau rating of an A+. Unfortunately, very few precious metal companies can boast that. Midas Resources has assembled one of the most educated, researched, and professional teams of brokers in the industry. The evidence is overwhelming. In uncertain times, gold and silver is safe harbor. Now is the time to invest in gold. Call 800-686-2237, and Midas Resources will mail you 10 reasons to own gold absolutely free. No shipping. It's absolutely free. And finally, Ted Anderson wants to challenge you to find any deal that comes close to his 2 silver dollars at cost with free shipping with 2 free films and a book for $72. That's more than $160 value for $72 shipping included. Click the link at Infowars.com to go to the MidasResources.com specials page. Brought to you by MidasResources.com and Ted Anderson, the trusted name in precious metals. I'm Alex Jones, your host. It is Friday. I'll be back this Sunday live, 4 to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Ben Swann, the very popular Fox News reporter from a Fox affiliate here in the U.S., has left his job, and you're going to discover why in the next hour. Very popular online, a listener of this radio show, took the reports, took the ideas, did his own ideas, and really had an effect, and he's leaving there. I know behind the scenes, well, I'm going to let him tell the story. Okay, because I know a few months ago, I wanted to have him on, and they told him, you're not allowed to go on that show. Which is funny. You know, they're putting ads on those videos online that we're getting seen millions of times in some cases. But you don't like local Fox affiliate being on Infowars.com? You don't like being on DrudgeReport.com? You don't like 1 million people coming to your website when your other videos had like 1,000 people coming to them? No, you don't like somebody exposing the private Federal Reserve or the New World Order. I went through the same stuff on Access TV. They tried to kick me off. And then they tried to kick me off local radio. And I was like, well, I have ratings. I'm bringing in money. And they're like, well, you know what? You're going to shut up or you're fired. And I was like, I thought as long as I was successful and we're not getting sued and I can prove what I'm saying, I'm allowed to be on the air. They said, no New World Order, Federal Reserve, or Bill Clinton. In fact, you do that, maybe we'll give you a raise. Now, come out to a company party with us. And I went to the company party, but I didn't shut up. So they said, you're fired and you'll never be on the air. I was already on the air out of my house on a little Patriot network jacked into a satellite on more than 10 stations. And those delusional people couldn't believe it. You see, that's why I hate monopolies, and I hate the folks that engineer the system and think they're going to control things. They don't control things. The White House doesn't control the narrative anymore. And they bemoan that. They attack the alternative media. Chief among it, the Drudge Report. Because we can show you videos of where they say, yeah, once we register, we're going to confiscate the guns. And what did the White House say? We hate it when our people speak out of turn and let out the plan. So that's why no one in the media is allowed to talk to any of our people in government. That's why the president doesn't really have press conferences anymore, and it's why we don't talk anymore. It's because of Drudge. The enemy can't even effectively have their propagandist out there talking, because when one of the mayors against gun violence, as they call it, you know, Mayor Bloomberg's anti-American seditious group, gets up in Austin, he says, we're going to register now and take the guns next. That video goes viral, and they're in trouble. Because you guys love to brag, we're here and we're going to show it. And they can't, and listen, they can't get us all. I want other people to duplicate what we've done. I want other people to start their own local radio shows and then put them on the internet and then do what we've done nationally, internationally, locally. And then once you become successful locally, I suggest you do it locally first, because that's where there's a real audience for fighting corruption. Because, see, we're covering national, international, and there's almost a glut of that now at certain levels. You need to cover what's happening locally, then that will become national. I'm consulting for you out there, America. What did the head of the Veritas Project a few days ago, O'Keefe, say? He said he's writing a book coming out. We're going to sell it about how to do what he's done as a real citizen journalist that brings down federal operations. Akron was getting something like $6 to $10 billion a year. He blew that operation into 1,000 political pieces. Low tech for a couple $1,000s. Folks, I literally pioneered what they do by necessity. Reinventing old-fashioned muckraking with the internet. I'm giving you solutions. The next issue of the magazine is going to be about solutions and basic ways to fight these tyrants. If you'll just go to globalist meetings that are public, anti-gun, land-grabbing stuff, they'll sit around if you just sit there and act like you're them going, yeah, we're criminals, we're going to steal everything. I mean, that's who they are. You can walk into one of these so-called liberal offices and go, hey, let's kidnap kids. And they'll be like, yeah, let's murder them too. I mean, you know, it's like the Acorn stuff where, yeah, I'm bringing in little kidnapped girls to sell them as sex slaves. Oh, great. Yeah, we love that. That's a wonderful thing, you know. I'm telling you, these people are so evil. See, most people who figured out the general public are zombies and don't even know what's going on, most people figure that out and go, well, I'm going to rob them. I'm going to steal from them. And once they get a corrupt police force in charge, you can't touch anybody within the city corruption or the corporate corruption because, well, that'll bring down the whole system. They're like made men. Those of us that stand down to corruption make all these low-level criminals like made men. And why would you be made in the Italian mafia? Because if you went after that person, a whole organization would come after you. It's like Scientology, where people are scared to go after them because they'll come after you. Even they went after the federal government, when the FBI, CIA, they went after them, broke into their offices, reportedly did dirty tricks. People are scared of Scientology, and it's something L. Ron Hubbard set up as a joke for tax exemption just because they had what Tony Montana calls huevos. And I don't break them for nobody. Well, what if good people didn't back down? What if good people got aggressive? And I'm not talking about breaking into the FBI, but just said, come and take it. But more than come and take it, we go out and we take over. We get aggressive. Those two guys in Austin that went to that anti-gun rally, they came over and a woman slapped one of them in the back. Another guy poked him in the leg, guy cussed at him. They stood their ground. The police tried to act like the Patriots had done something wrong, led by Acevedo, who's going to be in here next Friday, he says. We'll see. And just because they did that, just because they went out there and held up signs saying no gun ban, the enemy said, you bet, you'll need that sign soon, because after we register, after we do what we're doing now, we're going to make that sign a reality. So you keep that sign, you're going to need it. And the guy smiled, the little Hispanic version of Dr. Evil. I guess the Hispanic mini-me. Sits there and points at him and says, I'm going to get your guns. What an outrageous King George III statement. I mean, what a just Santa Ana, I'm going to get your guns. Just outrageous, like, I'm going to get them. Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in. If you don't engage the enemy, you don't show their strength, you don't show their fire, the cattle won't even know there's a war going on. Engaging the enemy, showing up, getting on the field. You may not be a great fencer the first time you go fencing. You may not be a great wrestler the first time you go and wrestle. You may not be a good boxer the first time you go boxing. But I'll assure you, you get in the arena, you're going to get better and better and better and better. And folks, I'm just telling you, I'm in the arena. And I may be stumbling around and bleeding and falling over sometimes, and it may even be a spectacle. But you know what? I'm in the arena. I'm in the arena all the way. Get in the arena. This is a fight with authoritarians and all their slime. They make me sick. You had a neighbor you'd caught stealing potted plants out of your backyard, and you came over to their house and said, Bill, that looks like my potted plant right there. In fact, that's a planter we bought in Mexico. I doubt you, because he's, oh, that's mine. Oh, I've had that for years. No, I thought, that looks like a plant we bought 5 years ago in Mexico. I mean, that's a pretty, in a small town. I think that's an original, little deal. I bought it from a shop where they were there making them by hand. No, it's not. No, it's not. Well, I don't appreciate you saying that to me, that I stole that. You would loathe that person because they were such a despicable liar. And you'd say, okay, you go ahead and you keep that. Of course, all you do is when you finally move out, a few years later, you just go over and take the potted plant back. That's actually a true story. I guess the only thing, I said I stole beer out of golf carts. I guess I have stolen my own stuff back before. Anyways, getting back to what I'm saying here, ladies and gentlemen, is that there are people who just want to steal for no reason. My dad used to tell me when I was a kid, there's people who'd rather steal a quarter from you than make $100. And I go, why, Dad? And he goes, because they're losers. Because that's the way they are. They think they win by stealing something from you. I've seen people I've worked with, built up, put on the radar so many times just do the Oedipus complex and make stuff up about me and attack me and go after me or take my faults and exaggerate them because they imagine that that's how they build themselves up. That's how you become a big man. No, you build a community and you work with people and you get a name that's trusted and then everyone who's a winner wants to work with you. When you attack people and lie about them, then only losers want to work with you. And my God, that's a bad fraternity to be in. And it's the same thing with government and bureaucracy. I mean, Homeland Security is saying gun owners, veterans are the #1 terror threat. And if that wasn't enough, they doubled down. They quadrupled down. They infinity'd down and said, gun owners, veterans, you're not just the ultimate terrorist. No, it's all Catholics and all evangelicals and put them next to Al-Qaeda, and the Army has taught that. And then that freaked everybody out when because I reported this a decade ago. Now it's in Fox News, so now it's safe for the state police in Colorado to go, yeah, we're in meetings saying we need to confiscate guns from the Christians, and will we do it? This is kind of creepy. Kind of creepy? I mean, you're in a room with enemy foreign operatives who've taken over. I mean, it's like aliens landing or something, or Nazis taking over France. You're in a room, I mean, right there, that's the bad guy, obviously. Oh, and by the way, we're taking a survey. This came out yesterday. Will you confiscate guns from Christians? We see them as a problem during gun confiscation. And the state police, this is your moment, folks, when the evil is just, the devil takes off the nice guy suit, and it's the devil in a red pajamas with a forked tail. Going, hi, I'm the devil. Hello. And you going to work for me, aren't you? Everybody's sitting there going, this is pretty crazy. I mean, it wasn't enough to badmouth George Washington. It wasn't bad enough to badmouth Thomas Jefferson. It wasn't bad enough to say returning veterans will attack every police department in America with IEDs. Remember that 5 years ago? And I'm like, here's this secret document I was sent by a federal marshal. They're teaching him that every department will be attacked. Let me check this document. I've confirmed it's real. You know, the feds were hopping mad when I called them that I had it and quite threatening. Police, are you being trained that veterans will attack your department, with IEDs in the near future? Open the phones up, every cop calls in. Yeah, they trained us on that last year. We thought it was crazy. That's why cops listen to the show and are just immediately listeners, because they hear it and they go, yeah, I was told that. How's he know that? Ladies and gentlemen, there isn't long to turn this around, okay? If you give in to these bullies, it's over. And they are completely out of control. You know, I said I'd get to all these reports. I said I'd get to the true nature of the New World Order. And I don't do this on purpose. Guys, you've got to make me do it at the start of the third hour. And because I want to talk about their master plan, where they're going, what they're going to do, what's going to happen, how they've dumbed people down. Because that's the key. That's the heart. That's the central area to all of this, is that we are entering a period in society. We are entering a period in our culture where everything is going to accelerate downhill. And the establishment has done the actuaries. They believe they've got a big enough group of people that are so dumbed down. I mean, I saw a Mark Dice video. We're going to play it coming up in the next segment, where he goes out and says, will you confiscate? You know, are you for people being arrested if they own guns? Are you for banning guns? And the people, most of them, signed the petition to do it. And so I'm going to go out and see if Austinites are that dumbed down. But I mean, that, and then he went on and said, did you hear about the U.S. nuking China, blowing up their 2 biggest cities last week? And people are like, no, I didn't hear about it and I don't care. I mean, that is how dangerously selfish and disconnected and lazy the public's gotten. But globalists, just because you have dumbed down the general public, just because you've been so successful in turning them into zombies and even lowering their brainwaves and reducing the amount of words they use. I've got all the studies I'm going to cover in the third hour on this front. Just because you've been able to do that doesn't mean there aren't 70 million guns sold in just the last couple of years. Over 150 million gun owners. I see statistics like 35 million gun owners. I saw that like in the New York Times last week. What a lie. Like, oh, it's a minority. It's 35 million gun owners. Ladies and gentlemen, there are estimated 400 million guns of new manufacture since the 1930s. That's considered, modern era. I mean, you can pull up these numbers. It varies. Some are 400, 500 million. But let's just be conservative. Okay, 400 million guns. And most people, when they get a phone survey, do you own a gun? They say, none of your business, or no, because they don't trust the system. They know it's bad. They know it's crooked. Our numbers are much greater, so also understand that. So I want to tell the power structure something, which they're fully aware of. Just because you think you can get a bunch of sheep to vote to take our guns and vote to take our bank accounts and vote to take our private property because they think they're going to get a piece of it, A, will collapse the society faster than you even think, and B, there will be what you call collateral damage. There will be a civil war, the likes of which you've never seen. And I know you believe you're going to have it and control it, and this will be your decisive war, and you've billed Obama as Lincoln II, but this is not going to work the way you think it is.
And what we need to do is change the way in which people think about guns, especially young people. One thing that I think is clear with young people and with adults as well is that we just have to be repetitive about this. It's not enough to simply have a catchy ad on a Monday and then only do it every Monday. We need to do this every day of the week and just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way.
I mean, is it a free society to turn on sitcoms, dramas, news, and all they do is demonize the family, fathers, guns, liberty? This is an authoritarian group. Is it not, my king, time to spring the trap?
No, we must desecrate the soul and the flesh of the Creator's creation.
The chain of life broken forever. A monument to our beauty. Getting back into North Korea, and we got Pachenik. He finally got back from the DMZ. Now he could speak more. He was kind of off record. He was being cased and saying stuff like, "I've already put my life on the line in combat 8 times, and in other spy operations. So if something happens to me, that's fine. I'm willing for something to happen to me." So he's probably listening right now. I'm not making fun of his voice, doing an imitation. You can do an imitation of me too if you want. But he's going to be popping in for about 15 minutes at the end of the third hour today. Because he was saying it's a false flag, it's a false flag, it's a false flag. I can't say more than that. I've talked to Special Forces, Delta Force. I can't say much more than that. There's 3 CIA when I was just getting breakfast sitting around me at the restaurant. I got to watch it, Alex. They're listening right now, Alex. They're breaking into my email, Alex. So when he comes on, he's really a famous Black Ops guy. Camp David, founding Delta Force, writes Tom Clancy books. I mean, he's a very interesting character. Man, he's going to be popping in because here's Paul Watson's article. Look at this. Lawmakers drop bombshell. North Korea may have nuclear missiles. Well, no, they don't. The intelligence report doesn't say that. It says they've got A-bombs. Everybody knows that. But they can only hit Japan and South Korea. That's a public assessment by the British, everybody else. I've been saying it for months. Because I do my research. I'm not bragging. They've got atomic weapons. Let me say it again. They've got atomic weapons. The private groups, when they do tests, in Japan, private universities are able to pick up, even though they're underground tests, it comes out the tunnels, they're able to pick up the isotopes of an atomic bomb. The fingerprint, the signature, the biometric reading, if you want to call it that, even though they've got the spectrometers. Here it is. And now North Korea says nuclear war is unavoidable. Treason alert. Dems trying to move gun bill forward without allowing senators to read it. Obamacare repeat. Senators not allowed to read bill prior to cloture. This is all treason, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know Robert's rules, parliamentary procedure, the laws in this country as well, they're just the same with the Federal Reserve was passed by 3 senators the night before Christmas. Went all through the House. Not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. 3 of them passed the Federal Reserve Act. Notice they got rid of our senators in 1913, 17th Amendment. Before that, the state legislature that you elected, think how powerful legislatures were. They voted then to create more separation of powers, more emergency checks and balances, more ties on the government. They, your legislature, your state rep, would vote for the senator. And so they were a creature of the state. The states haven't existed. They say it's the Civil War. The states, after Reconstruction was so abusive, actually came back. But that 17th Amendment, I mean, that's put a fork in it. But it's not like a person you can just kill. Liberty, like phoenixes, can rise. If you realize, look, a contract that's fraudulent is null and void. All this stuff has been done through fraud. It's a fraud. And any courts that say this, any of that, are frauds and are a lie. And so that's the bottom line. And that's what Marbury versus Madison says. I mean, I've studied common law, I've studied law, I've studied history, I've studied it all. But law comes out of the organic common sense. I mean, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, Declaration of Independence only points out what is self-evident. Self-evident truths. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Self-evident. That all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Inalienable rights. Life, liberty, life and liberty. You got your life, you got your liberty. Not everybody's as smart as the other person. Not everybody's as good looking. We all have different gifts. All of you have gifts. Even people that are handicapped, even mentally, they are giving the gift of a burden to someone to grow. Everything's a gift. If God allows me to live another 50 years, that's a gift I certainly ask for and the one I want. But if God allows the enemy to strike me down, that is a gift. Because it's going to be done for a greater cause. And that's why I'm at total peace. Total peace with my Creator, not at peace with the New World Order. Because I just watching them run over our people, watching them hurt the innocent, watching them just persecute and persecute and persecute and trample the innocent and trample the honest and trample the virtuous and engage in fraud and lies and abuse and inventing new evil makes me want to throw up. The Republican leadership likes to act like the Democrats trick them. 16 Republicans voted because to take your guns, because they are bought and paid for by foreign banks and big corporations. Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, all these guys give money to the globalist. To the globalist minions, the globalist operatives. And they're there financing this, so that's why this happens. The same thing's done in every country. They've got a blueprint, they've got a program, they've got sociologists and anthropologists and psychologists and pitchmen and psych warfare experts and advertising execs that all get together in roundtables, a lot of these are public, and talk about how to con you, how to hammer you, how to take you over. Because that's what they build, is fraud. You understand? They steal the world. That way they get the woman, they get the power. You understand that? But it's worse than that. They want to tie you down because they know you're better than them. So they spike your water with poison. So much going on. Lawmaker drops bombshell. North Korea may have nuclear missiles. That's not what the report says. It says they have atomic bombs that they can deliver to Japan and South Korea. That's been declassified for a long time. This newest intelligence report they're saying is classified, but a watered-down, unclassified briefing was given to the congressman the intelligence committee can get the highest level security stuff unless the executive tries to deny it, and that itself is unconstitutional, but now is done out of hand because Congress has abdicated their responsibility, handed it over, which is another seditious, treasonous activity. Those aren't just words I use. That's what's happening. But if you read the report, they have atomic weapons. They've done tests before. They've picked up the isotopes that they've had successful detonations. It's real. They know it's a fingerprint. They can vaporize South Korea's major city, Seoul, of how many millions of people? I know it's more than 20 million. They can vaporize Tokyo. How many is Tokyo? One of the biggest cities in the world. And why is our government, the largest city in the world, why are we putting up, because I'm not a warmonger. I never call for that. You know that. But when you've got North Korea run by a third-generation dictator psycho saying, I have missiles, I'm going to attack, I'm going to blow up your cities, and now they've come out today in an official release and are saying our first target is Japan. Our first target is Japan, and they're saying, quote, nuclear war is unavoidable. That's in the Associated Press. North Korea says Tokyo is target number 1. I mean, that's like somebody coming to your house with a gun and saying, I'm outside, I'm going to shoot you in the head. I mean, but people are like, why isn't our government hitting them? Why is no one hitting them? And I'll tell you why, ladies and gentlemen. And again, as usual, truth is stranger than fiction. If you go up to Infowars.com, you can read this article linked to mainstream news. I've been covering this since I was on the air in 1996 when this started. Donald Rumsfeld, the head of ABB, along with Clinton authorizing it and the UN, it was a scandal at the time, signed off on transferring multiple nuclear reactors that allow them to create A-bombs when they could have been given types that you cannot create fissile material, purified, enriched uranium for the atomic weapons. And sure, this is 1945 technology, but you saw what it did to Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Will Japan, already hit twice, have to take another hit? I guess to get them out of their depression? Here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Who gave North Korea nukes in the first place? Then we're going to our guest. Is the U.S. government and the CIA. We're going to cover this next hour and get into the globalist master plan. And by the way, that's not my opinion. That's AP, Reuters, London Guardian, BBC 15 years ago. This was big news from 96 to 2000. And who met secretly with Kim Jong-un last month? The Pentagon in North Korea. The Chinese are massing troops saying, don't you do this, North Korea. China is, again, it's globalist above China, above America, playing us all off against each other. But who's putting Al-Qaeda in Libya and Syria publicly? Pentagon, NATO. Then saying we got to take your rights because of Al-Qaeda. They got 10,000 heat-seeking missiles. Who gave them the 10,000 heat-seeking missiles? Our government put them in Libya and let them have it. Got rid of the ambassador. They were at that house getting the missiles at that warehouse facility. I mean, man, being informed is incredible. The general public can't even tell what time it is anymore, find their rumps with both hands. And we're sitting here just watching crazy land. And what did the former CEO, I want to say, it's Lindsey Williams' source. I know the guy, Dr. Well, one of the doctors here on this network, Dr. Stan Monteith, actually years ago wanted to check it, so called the sources, and he confirmed it. One of them's dead now. The head of Atlantic Richfield died, so we can say his name, Ken Fromm. But remember 3 years ago, Lindsey Williams said it's going to start in North Korea. It's not the Middle East. When our fleet moves over there, get ready. And the fleet moved a year ago over there. All right, enough of that. That's all coming up. We're going to play this clip after Mr. Swan leaves us. Treason alert. Dems try to move gun bill forward without allowing senators to read it. Red linked on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Former Black Panther government preparing invasion against the American people. Father sickened by anti-constitutional note from son's school. Yeah, they're making the kids do anti-gun, anti-liberty stuff. DHS to meet with congressmen on ammo purchases. Soda ban highlights the hidden hazards of proposed gun control restrictions. Harry Reid's 100-clip magazine faux pas. Who gave North Korea nukes in the first place? Nuclear bombshell. North Korea has nukes capable of striking neighboring nations in Pentagon. That's just some of the news up on Infowars.com. And there's a Facebook report where they now take control of your phone and control it. That's a good idea with a guy that pump and dumped his people that bought his stock, and who calls you dumb effers if you trust him. Hey, dumb effers, how you idiots, morons trusting me? We're like, oh, we'll give you all our data. I mean, it's just, they just think you're so stupid. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.